We're joined now by another Michigan Democratic Senate candidate, Mallory McMorrow, state senator representing the Detroit suburbs. Welcome to this show, Mallory. You're a common face to us. You spent a lot of time talking to us on my old show, so great to have you here tonight.
Good to be back.
Let's talk about this. Michigan is a must-win for Democrats. If they don't win Michigan, it means that they might be having a bad night and don't get a pickup somewhere else. So why are you thinking that you're the best candidate for this?
Look, this is a moment where it's existential for the country. I am running to leave a better country for our kids than the one that they have right now. I leave the house every single morning and I look up at the window and I see my daughter Noah, who's 5, with her hand in the window waving goodbye. And look, you heard from one of my opponents. You invited all 3 candidates. Interestingly, the 2 who don't take corporate PAC donations are the ones who showed up. But the difference, and I love the energy that he brings into this race, the difference is I have won tough elections and I've delivered. I've taken on the gun lobby and we passed the most sweeping gun violence prevention measures in state history. Just today, with a number of my colleagues in the state Senate, we introduced what would be the strongest data center regulations in the entire country. So my case to Michigan voters is, yes, we have to beat Mike Rogers. So let's elect somebody who has beaten MAGA Republicans before. I took on a Republican incumbent, beat him in my first ever run for office, helped flip the entire state Senate to Democrats for the first time in 40 years, and we're delivering every single day, and you shouldn't settle for anything less.
Abdul has the endorsement of some prominent progressives. So do you. When people are thinking about that, if they're not thinking about necessarily you as individuals and your own credentials, and they're thinking about where you are in this moment in which the Democratic Party is sort of struggling for what its soul is, who are you in that fight?
I am somebody who takes on tough fights and win. I'm proud to be endorsed by 4 U.S. senators, including Chris Murphy and Elizabeth Warren, people who have been incredibly critical of Chuck Schumer and current Democratic leadership, who are progressive but also practical. Chris Murphy is somebody who was one of the leading negotiators on the immigration deal, the bipartisan immigration deal that Trump killed ahead of the 2024 election when he realized that he would rather run on an issue than actually solve it. He's somebody who's fought hard against gun violence in the same way that I am. Elizabeth Warren created the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, protecting billions of dollars of money for our residents, returning billions of dollars to Americans. That is my lane. I'm somebody who knows how to fight. I'm somebody who knows how to win. And I'm somebody who knows how to go back to my constituents to say, hey, the thing we said we were going to do, we did it. We repealed our abortion ban. We expanded civil rights. We expanded voting rights. And that is the blueprint that I'm going to take with me into the U.S. Senate.
So I'm one of these people who thinks that discussions and debates between Democrats will end up with a healthier party. You have saying that you've said that Democrats are crying out. These are your words, crying out for a new Democratic Party. And you've called for a reckoning. What does that mean and what does that look like?
So first of all, I agree with you. You know, in this race, we have Mike Rogers on the other side, who was anointed by Donald Trump after losing very narrowly to Elissa Slotkin in the last cycle. And Donald Trump is telling voters in Michigan on the Republican side, you don't get to pick your candidate, I do. And I think that is incredibly unfair. On the Democratic side, we have the Democratic establishment who is trying to rally around Congresswoman Haley Stevens, somebody who has taken thousands of dollars in corporate PAC donations, who has taken thousands of dollars from the company that sells tasers to ICE while touring a detention facility and then giving an interview afterwards in which she praised the agents, a detention facility where more than 80% of people detained have no criminal conviction whatsoever. So yes, I believe that people are crying out for a reckoning. And in this primary, we all get to make our case to voters as to what type of Democratic Party do you want? Do you want one that is more of the status quo that frankly got us into this mess that we're in the first place? Or do you want a Democratic Party where we know how to take on tough fights? We know how to stand up to MAGA Republicans. We know how to beat them, especially for the first time in our state in decades. And we know how to address affordability, how to address your rights, how to fight for your rights when Donald Trump comes for them. And that is a bet that I'm willing to make.
We have invited, as you know, Haley Stevens to appear on the show. We continue to do so, and perhaps she will. You and Abdul have both made the point that you think the Democratic establishment is putting their thumb on the scale in this fight, and your argument is that Democrats want to have a say in what their party looks like, and that may not be fair. The Democratic Party does, generally speaking, support incumbents against challengers. I don't believe that's something they should do. But in your case, they're supporting a candidate who's not an incumbent.
Yeah, and I think that is such a vast misread of the moment. If we learned nothing from the 2024 cycle, it has to be that when voters tell us they want a choice in candidate, we got to listen to them. We can't afford to make the same mistakes of the past as a party, hoping that the party can dictate the candidate and that voters will just swallow it and say yes. We need the opportunity to have a robust debate, have a real campaign, and allow Michiganders to decide, not the National Democratic Party. And I think, frankly, the Michigan Democratic Party, what we have done here, is something that Washington should pay attention to. We know how to win these races. We know how to beat MAGA Republicans, and we can do it again. Just trust the voters.
Mallory McMorrow is a Michigan state senator. Thank you for being with us tonight. Mallory McMorrow is a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate in Michigan.